Hey everyone, this is Frances Caballo with Social Media Just for Writers. And I am happy to be here, and I'm happy to have Ricardo Fayet with me today. And he is living in London right now, but he is quite the world traveler and the co-founder, more importantly than that, the co-founder of Reedsy. I almost said Ridsy, I don't know why, but Reedsy. So welcome, Ricardo.
Thank you, Francis. And it's the first time people pronounce my name correctly on the webinar. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, I happen to be of Spanish heritage. He is too. And so I thought I would roll my R this morning. I so seldom get an opportunity to say Ricardo, and I love that name. So almost as much as I love the name Javier. So I'm going to give you a brief bio, everyone, of Ricardo, and then we're going to just start with the questions. And what I want you to know is that you can ask questions too. Just write your questions where it says questions on your bar on the right-hand side, or for me, it's on the right-hand side. And then I will interrupt Ricardo once in a while, and we will go from there. So he is one of the founders of Reedsy. And if you don't know what Reedsy is, everybody who's an indie author should know what Reedsy is. But if you don't worry. Ricardo's going to explain it to us. It's an online marketplace connecting authors with the world's top editors, designers, and book marketers. He likes to imagine how small players will shape the future of publishing. I like to imagine that too. And is the author of several free courses for authors as part of Reedsy Learning. So welcome, Ricardo. I'm so happy to have you here today. He comes from London, although he tells me he's going to be moving back to Madrid. So he's quite the international persona that we have today. We usually have people from the United States, but I've interviewed Joanna Pan and other people. So it's nice to have somebody from around the world. And so I think I'm just going to start with the questions
Sure.
because people aren't really saying where they're from. So I'm just going to start with the questions. So first of all, tell us about your background and tell us what led you to start an organization that could benefit independently published authors.
Yeah, so my background is mostly European. So I was born in Spain, as you mentioned. Mother Italian, father French. So yeah, very European, and now living in London. So a lot of people ask me about my business background, and I have to say I don't have much of a background right now. I started Reedsy with a few friends almost right after business school. So we'd been looking at the world of publishing from a reader perspective for several years. And we learned about this phenomenon called self-publishing that started the early 2010s. And so one of the main questions that my friend had was how, if authors are self-publishing, that there's a lot more that goes into publishing than just writing a book, like who's editing their work, who's doing the cover design, who's formatting, how are they distributing. So how does self-publishing work, basically? And he came up with this idea of like creating a marketplace that would connect authors with editors, designers, marketers, all these people who worked within traditional publishing companies and who are now actually mostly freelance, because at the same time as there was a self-publishing wave, there was a wave of freelance working in publishing. So most of the in-house editors, copy editors, proofreaders, cover designers, they've gone freelance, and they still work with these publishing companies, but with freelance contracts, which means that they're also available to independent authors. And at the time, it sounded like a brilliant idea. And I have to say, 5 years later, it still sounds like a brilliant idea, and it's working pretty well for us. So that's how I really got into the world of publishing, and specifically why we created Reedsy.
So how do you review the editors and consultants to make sure that Reedsy is offering the best in the market?
That's our secret sauce. We've got actually human people doing that. So I know we live in the world of algorithms, but we've got human people vetting all the editors, the designers, the publicists, the marketers, the ghostwriters, even the website designers that now apply to the marketplace. So the way it works is We get applications by people filling profiles. Now, these profiles are public, so they're the profiles that are going to show up in searches on Readsy to authors looking for an editor or a designer. Now, when people create these profiles, they aren't immediately public. They first go for review. So we basically look at the profiles. We'll look mostly at the experience of the freelancers. So which books they've worked on in the past, whether they've worked for traditional publishers or not, and the kind of genres they specialize in. And making sure that there's a strong overlap between the genres that they say they specialize in and the books that are in their portfolio. Because if they say, I can edit historical fiction and there's no historical fiction in the portfolio, then it's going to raise alarm bells for us. So if the profile shows promise, then we work with the freelancer to kind of make sure that they finish it and polish it. And if it doesn't show promise, then we just don't follow up and don't accept these people. So just to give an idea, because it's a question I get a lot, we accept around 3% of the freelance applications we get. Wow. And we have right now around 800 people live, accepted, vetted on the marketplace. So it gives you an idea of the applications we've received over the years, over 25,000.
You've been inundated with applications.
Yes. So I think we've built a reputation where freelancers know that they're going to get work through us a lot more than if they were on Upwork or places like that, because of our vetting. And so there's a lot of word of mouth. And as you probably know, and as anyone knows, if they've self-published in the past, there are thousands of wannabe editors, wannabe designers, etc. out there who just see an opportunity in self-publishing and think, oh, I've got an English degree, so I can be an editor. I'm gonna edit the books of all these self-published authors out there. And so that's exactly the type of applications we're getting, which we refuse. And exactly the reason why we thought Readsy was needed in the first place.
Excellent. What a great resource. This is a great resource.
Thank you.
So tell us about the kind of services that Readsy offers. So we've talked about the kind of experts that are there and how they are vetted, but what about the services that Readsy offers?
So at the core, we're really a marketplace to connect authors with, as I said, different verticals of professionals. So I'm probably going to start with those because these are really what our services are. So it's editing, from developmental editors to copy editors, proofreaders. We've also got editors who specialize in query-led reviews. So these are editors who are also literary agents often on the side, or who come from traditional publishing, from a commissioning editor background. So they offer to just look at query letters and the first few pages of a manuscript to make sure that the author submission package is as good as it can be before they send it to agents. We've got cover designers, we've got illustrators for children's books, for fantasy, for sci-fi. We've got book interior designers, mostly for photo-heavy books or illustrated books. So again, children's books or graphic novels or cookbooks, photo books. We've got book publicists and book marketers. The difference being that book publicists are going to be people who come from a PR background, often within a traditional publisher, and can help. I recommend that mostly for nonfiction, can help secure media coverage, basically, whether it's in trade publications related to the nonfiction topic you're writing about, or in mainstream publications if you've got a more mainstream subject that has a chance of getting featured in mainstream publications. Marketers are more people who are going to help with the overall marketing strategy of a book. And we've got also advertising specialists, so people who are going to look at Facebook advertising campaigns, Amazon advertising, the different things we're going to talk about later in this webinar. And finally, we recently added ghostwriters. So we have around 80 ghostwriters on Readsy. That's for a different type of market. Obviously, it's for publishers or people who need a ghostwriter. And finally, we recently added website designers. So that's for more advanced authors who've got a few books out there and want to have a proper website design. Most of our website designers use WordPress, so they're going to set up a website that then the author can control on their own. So it's both like designing a website and training the author on how to use it. So these are the kind of main verticals, that we have on Reetsy now.
Right. And you also have a blog, right? With some pretty good articles on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we make our money through the marketplace. We basically take a cut. If you hire an editor, we take a 10% cut. And then everything else we do is for free. So we provide as much information as we can for free. The model behind Reetsy is to give the authors all the tools they need without the hand-holding. So you're not going to have like a dedicated person who's going to tell you, do this, do that, hire this person, hire that. We've obviously got a lot of customer support, and I'm happy to answer a lot of questions. But the idea behind Reetsy is really we provide the tools and we provide all the educational content you're going to need. So the blog serves that purpose. We've got a lot of articles on craft. So for people who are writing their first novel, typically we've got articles on dialogue, character development, plotting, story structure, all these things. And then we've got a lot of articles on marketing, case studies around Facebook ads, Amazon ads, things like that. And a lot of articles around publishing distribution as well. So we've got a master post on ebook distribution that goes over all the ebook publishing platforms out there. So comparing Draft to Digital, Smashwords, PublishDrive, StreetLib, and whether you should go direct to Amazon, whether you should be exclusive to Amazon or not. So trying to answer all these questions. So it's basically a way for us to have material for when authors send us questions, say, rather than typing a 3,000-word blog post every time in an email, sending them a link to that blog post.
All right. And you do webinars, don't you?
We do bi-weekly webinars. So every 2 weeks, we've got what we call Reetsy Live, which is a Facebook Live where we invite either someone from our marketplace or one of our editors or designers to talk about a topic, or a partner. So, for example, we had a Reetsy Live with David Gaughran a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about the Amazon popularity list, which isn't that well known and is incredibly important. It's what basically decides Kindle Unlimited recommendations. So if you're within Kindle Unlimited, it's absolutely vital that you know about this list. And this week, actually tomorrow, we have a cover critique. So it's something we do once a month. We get one of our designers to critique 20 covers live. So we basically tell our audience, send us your covers. We get hundreds of covers, obviously. We're always surprised by the kind of stuff we get. And then the designer picks, yes, it's very surprising. I can't give examples, but yeah.
No, I have seen them.
Exactly, there you go. And we pick 20. Generally, the designer picks 20 and critiques them live. So the ones that they critique they're obviously not the worst ones. They're ones that show some promise, but where the author can make some tweaks or get a designer to make some easy tweaks to make it really better. So yeah, that's the kind of live webinars that we do, and we've got free courses as well through Reetsy Learning.
Would you have it? Reetsy is phenomenal. I mean, it really is. There isn't another organization out there that has so many free services and vetted professionals. I mean, Reetsy is really it seems like.
We're trying, yeah, we do our best. But the idea is, as I said, to provide a hub and to do everything. There's one thing we don't do, it's publishing and distribution. Because there are companies out there that do it much better than us, namely Amazon and Draft to Digital to reach the other stores. So we're not getting into that. However, we've got free content that explain how to best leverage these companies. And then we've got a lot of marketing resources as well.
Yeah. I really like Draft to Digital. I think they are a super company. I'm
Absolutely.
glad you mentioned them. Yeah, they're good. So tell us about how you would approach, or how Reetsy would suggest an author approach a book marketing effort. You know, what would be the strategies? What would be the components? What would be important?
So first, I think you will need a plan. And I know you talk a lot about that on social media just for writers. having a clear plan that for me needs to answer two questions. First, who your audience is, because that's the number one thing where I think most authors fail out there. It's really identifying who their niche audience is, and then answering the second question, which is how am I going to reach that audience when my book is out there? So identifying the audience sounds pretty easy, but I always recommend authors like use kind of proto personas. So really basically describe who their ideal reader is, and not saying, oh, it's a YA reader in their 20s, but saying really, okay, my ideal reader would be Jack. He's a thriller fan. He's read all the Jack Reacher books. He's 45, married, lives in the UK countryside, reads 2 books a week, and enjoys espionage thrillers on Netflix, has watched all the Homeland series. So going in that kind of level of detail and describing one fictional person. And I've found that really helps, because then it makes it a lot easier to find channels to reach this ideal reader. Because obviously there's going to be a lot of people sharing this interest. And then if you use Facebook ads, for example, which we'll be talking about, then you think, okay, so Jack Reacher, I can use that as an interest. Lee Child, I can use that as an interest. Homeland series on Netflix, I can use that as an interest. I'm going to target men in the UK between the ages and this and that. So it gives you an idea already. Defining who your exact target audience is already gives you a lot of clues on how to reach that target audience. So the more effort, I'd say, you put into that part of the marketing plan, the less you'll have to do on finding ways to reach the target audience. Whereas if you say my audience is like YA readers in their 20s, how are you going to reach these people? Because there's like millions of them out there. So you don't know how to get to them.
Right. That's so true what you said.
So yeah, I insist a lot on target audience because, again, so when authors reach out to professionals on Readsy, we always have the question, who's your target market? And the kind of answers we see in there make me go crazy. We get like, a lot of times we get everyone, or as I said, like a genre, like YA readers. Once I got everyone except probably men. So I'm guessing it was a women's fiction book. But yeah, that's the kind of, if you haven't solved that, there's no way that you're going to be able to market your book afterwards.
That's true. That's true. And as I always say, everyone is not a demographic.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you think about Facebook's what do you think of Facebook's most recent tweaking of its algorithm?
I think it's another step for Facebook in the direction that they took a few years ago. They're further limiting the reach of the pages. I think what they basically want is to encourage more friend-to-friend interaction on Facebook and less business-to-person interaction, unless the business pays for it. So there are two ways to see it. Either you don't like Facebook and you say, it's a way for Facebook to make more money because the only way for businesses to reach their customers is going to pay through paying more. Then if you're more of a fan of Facebook, you say, I know they basically want more genuine interaction and want me to see my friends' posts in my feed rather than like posts from random Facebook pages targeting me. I think it's a move that makes sense. And it's a move that's going to hurt authors a little bit if, one, they don't advertise. If you don't advertise, it's definitely going to hurt you. If you rely on Facebook and you don't advertise, it's going to hurt you.
Right.
One thing you can do to alleviate that is to move the people who are from your page towards a group. So now we're seeing a lot of authors posting something and pinning it to the top of their page saying, join my Facebook group, and being very candid about it. So if you're in that case, I suggest you actually do that. You pin a post to the top of your page saying, look, Facebook is changing their algorithms. which means that a lot of you are not going to see what I post through this page anymore. However, I've got this awesome readers group where readers post reviews, where I share news about my books, no spoilers, etc., which I highly suggest that you join. You pin it to the top of your page, and you also throw some advertising on it, and you make sure that it reaches everyone who follows your page. And you try to funnel people into the group if you want to keep interacting with them organically. So that would be my advice to authors regarding that change in the algorithm. But I have a Facebook page. Ritzy doesn't have a Facebook group. We might start one, but I'm really not worried at all about the change in algorithm, because the people who interact with your page, Facebook's going to see your page as a friend of them. So Facebook's going to keep showing them your stuff. If they don't interact with your page, then it's not worth your post showing in their feed anyway. And if you want to get people to start interacting with you, you can just like advertise. So if you advertise something that people are interested in, they're going to start interacting with your posts. Facebook's going to see that and is going to increment your reach. So it does reward advertisers, but it also rewards content that your fans interact with.
Right, right. And for people who don't know what we're talking about, Facebook, it seems like every year tweaks its algorithm, making it more difficult for posts on a Facebook business page or Facebook author page to reach the newsfeed, unless people like, comment, and especially share your content on a Facebook page. And so the way to get around that is to spend money on Facebook advertising. I think Mark Zuckerberg said that the reason for the change was that people really just want to connect with friends and family on Facebook, and they don't want to see a lot of posts from pages. Maybe your reader fans don't feel that way, and so what you're going to have to do is to spend money on advertising. I recently interviewed a romantic suspense author, Sharon Hamilton, and she has 30,000 likes on her Facebook page. But she says she has very little engagement. She only gets engagement when she buys advertising and when she advertises with video. And so it's something for you to think about if you want to stay on Facebook, or, as Ricardo just said, to start a Facebook group and to pin a status update to the top of your timeline, and to encourage people to go to your Facebook group, and to have a tab on your website that says, join my readers group. That's what Sharon Hamilton does. She calls it the Rockin' Readers group. And she has thousands of people on her Facebook group and doesn't worry about the page so much. So there are ways to work around Facebook's latest tweaking, but one way to work around it is Facebook advertising. And that's what I think Ricardo is going to talk about next.
Yeah, absolutely, because I use Facebook ads a lot to promote Ritzy. And I often talk about Facebook advertising with other authors, and I know it's a very hot topic out there. I think the reason for it is that they've worked really well for authors in the past few years, and now authors are starting to get worried because for a lot of them the costs are increasing, and the reason for that is just that everyone's using them. So again, two sides to the equation. Everyone's using them because they work, and they start to work less well because everyone's using them. However, there are some workarounds that, and it's just, I think we're going to move towards the second phase in Facebook ads for authors, where authors are going to get more savvy and experiment with new things. So I'm going to try basically to show what kind of new things you could try. If you're in the case where Facebook ads haven't worked for you, or they're working less well than last year, then hopefully I'm going to be able to show a couple of things that should work better from my personal experiments. So I'm going to try to share my screen now. Which I was able to do just earlier.
You have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you think Facebook may have had its day, and that other platforms like Google Plus may be better? This is from Sue from Nelson, New Zealand.
I think Google Plus had its day. and that day is over. Facebook's still very much alive. Google Plus is, last time I looked at it, at communities in Google Plus, they were a lot less active than a few years ago. So I wouldn't recommend Google Play. I think of all the platforms that belong to the Facebook generation, so Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, Facebook is the only one that's kept really growing. You can look at newer platforms, Instagram, Pinterest to some extent for certain genres. I was going to say Snapchat, but again, Snapchat's slowly dying as well. So you can look at Instagram, but Instagram is owned by Facebook. And the great thing is if you run Facebook ads, it's almost certainly going to show up on Instagram as well. Like you can basically tell Facebook, automate where my ads are going to show up, and Facebook's going to show your ads on Facebook. It's going to show them on Instagram. It's going to see where readers interact with them the most, where your cost per click or conversion is going to be the lowest, and it's going to show them predominantly there. So I have some types of ads where Facebook shows them mostly on Facebook, other types where Facebook shows them mostly on Instagram. So I basically let Facebook optimize that, but through Facebook you can reach two very, very strong platforms. So I'm still very much a fan of Facebook. So I think I'm sharing my screen, right? You're seeing right. The Facebook advertising dashboard. Cool. So this is my Facebook dashboard. So the number one thing that authors do is targeting through interests. So I'm gonna use my example where I promote my campaign where I promote videos, and I think this is the type of ad and targeting that most authors use. Let me pull it up. It's obviously going to be a bit slow. Sorry about that. So cool. So this is an ad where I'm targeting, supposed to be targeting people who like NaNoWriMo. So it's an interest-based advert. So you see, while we're doing this, I'm actually spotting a mistake in my ads. Okay, cool. So this is an ad set that's targeting people through an interest, NaNoWriMo. So what most authors do is set up ad targeting where they say, okay, I want to target people who like Jack Reacher as an interest, or who like Lee Child. And they use interest targeting, basically the fans of other big names in their genre. Or if they're writing nonfiction, if I'm writing about yoga, I'm going to target people who are into yoga interests. So interest-based is the one type of ad that other authors are running out there. And this means that interests are costing more and more per click. Now, we run ads targeting interests around writing, like National Novel Writing Month. And I've seen that these types of ads are becoming more and more expensive, again, because most people are using them. So if you're targeting just through interests, it's a great way to start and to actually build an audience. But after a while, you're going to see that it's going to get more expensive. So that's where custom audiences come in. And custom audiences are basically audiences that come from you rather than from interests determined by Facebook. So let me pull, this campaign up, for example. I'm not able to scroll, obviously. Okay, sorry about that. So once you start getting traffic on your website, or once people start engaging with your ads, you're going to be able to create custom audiences. So let me pull up this example here. So this is an audience where I'm targeting people who are part of your Readsy learning list. So I've got a list on MailChimp. That's our free courses, part of Ritzy Learning. Last time I updated here was in October 2017. You should update your audiences a lot more frequently than that. But yeah, I've got lots of ads to run. So I haven't done it since October. But this is a custom list of people that I uploaded from MailChimp to Facebook. And I'm targeting those people through Facebook ads. Now, you might be thinking, if those readers are part of my newsletter already, or my list, why don't I just email them? Why am I showing them ads on Facebook? Well, the reason for that is email open rates are around 30, 40%, 50 if you're really good at that. So even the best case scenario is probably a good 50% of your list who isn't opening your emails. So what you do is that you show ads when you've got a new release. You send an email about your new release, and also you show ads to your entire list about that new release. And you're going to see really, really, really low costs per click and cost per conversion and cost per sale, basically, if you run ads like that on a custom audience. So how do you set up custom audiences? You go to audiences here in the Facebook advertising dashboard. And you've got several types of custom audiences you can create. Now, the one I just described is a customer file. So I can either import directly from MailChimp or upload a CSV, a spreadsheet. It's fairly simple. Another type of ad of custom audience you can create is website traffic one. And to use that, you need to have a pixel on your website. So if you're starting to do Facebook ads, and especially if you direct those ads to your website rather than to the books page on Amazon, for example, if you're advertising a freebie as a sign up to your mailing list, and that freebie is hosted on your website, I highly recommend that you add a Facebook pixel to your website. Just Google how to add a Facebook pixel on my website. There are WordPress plugins, there are Chrome plugins, there are a lot of tools to help you do that. Or if you work with a website designer, ask that they add a pixel. So then you can use this website traffic tool. And here, for example, I can create an audience of all my website visitors in the past 30 days. I can go more granular than that. You can set up events on your website. For example, page your lead. Lead would be people who sign up to your newsletter for your freebie. So you can say, okay, I'm going to target all the website visitors in the past 30 days, but I'm going to exclude people who've already signed up to my website in the past 180 days because they're already in my newsletter. Either I don't want to reach them or I'm retargeting them to another audience. Other things you can do is people who visited specific web pages. So if I want people who just visited my landing page, I'm going to say URL equals ritzy.com. And I'm going to target people who just visit my main landing page, not our blog posts or live webinars or learning courses or anything like that. So this is an audience. You name your audience, and then it's going to be available within the Facebook advertising dashboard. Another way you can create an audience, and this is where things get really interesting, is through engagement. You can create audiences of people who watch your videos. You can create audiences of people who viewed your lead forms. You can create audiences of people who viewed your canvases and carousel ads. You can set up an audience of people who interacted with your Facebook page, Instagram profile. You get the gist. If you use Facebook events, same. You can create audiences of people who interacted with your events on Facebook. These have been incredibly powerful for me and have changed the way I view Facebook ads. I use mostly video, and I've switched to another way of doing advertising. So to give you an example of how video works, you choose people who watched a certain amount of your video. So if it's a short video, I found that 10 seconds works best in the past 365 days. I choose the video. I'm going to say, okay, I want people who watched this Ritzy learning video. So I'm going to confirm, and this is going to create an audience of people who watched at least 10 seconds of the Ritzy learning video here in the past 365 days. Now we go back to our advertising dashboard. You're going to see that I have a campaign here that's just for videos. And I have super low cost per results. Now, the goal of this campaign is to get people to view our videos. So you see it's incredibly cheap to get someone to view at least 3 seconds of my video. And what I do is I have very big audiences here. I've got lookalikes. So if you're not familiar with lookalikes, I'll be talking about them in a second. But it's basically audiences of like often millions of people that are not familiar with Ritzy yet. And I tried sending them an ad before advertising our free courses, advertising our marketplace, advertising our free formatting tool. So ads where I wanted them to sign up to our website. And it didn't work that well because these people weren't familiar with Ritzy. So what I'm doing instead is I'm just showing them videos for now. So I've got this big lookalike in the US, for example, and I'm showing them a video on proofreading marks. And after a while, because I'm doing this and it's crazy cheap, I'm getting 100,000 or 200,000 people who view this video on proofreading marks. So this, through the audience creator that I showed you earlier, I can create an audience of 100,000, 200,000 people who have already interacted with the Ritzy brand by watching at least 10 seconds of one of her videos. And then I'm going to serve lead ads or website conversion ads to that audience. And I found that it divides the cost per lead by 2. And because it's super cheap to get them to watch a video because Facebook is pushing for video, in the end, even if I'm running 2 different ads to get the same result, I'm spending half the money. So that's I'd say my number one kind of advanced lesson of the day is think about serving soft ads to audiences who aren't familiar with you before you serve them harder ads where you ask for newsletter sign up or for them to buy your book. Now, I promised that talk about lookalike audiences. I should have done that earlier. So I'm going to go back to the audiences quickly. Now, I've talked about how to set up custom audiences. Now, the great thing with a custom audience is that you can create a lookalike audience based off of it. And what Facebook's going to do basically is going to analyze your custom audience. So let's say if I go back to my example of my Ritzy learning list of like 25,000 people, it's going to identify those people on Facebook. It's going to take a look at their interests, their demographics, and then create a lookalike audience in the UK or in the US that you choose of people who look alike, who look like the people in your list. If you've never tested lookalikes, do them because in my experience, custom audiences work the best, but then lookalike audiences work even better than audiences based on interest only. And you get huge sizes. Often your custom audiences are going to be small. So for example, if you've got a list of 20,000 people, when you've got a new release, you can maybe spend $15, $20 on advertising to that list. But if you want a bigger reach, you're going to need to set up a lookalike, and then you get 2 million people. And again, if to these 2 million people, you're just asking them to buy your book, maybe it will work, maybe it won't. If it doesn't, show them a soft ad. I showed you an example of video, but you can show them an image instead. If you don't want to spend a budget on the trailer, you can show them an image instead, and then create a custom audience based on people who interacted, not with a video, but with a lead form or with a full screen experience or with your ads in the past. Cool. So to recap and to rank the types of audiences, I'd say custom audiences are going to be what works best. So your goal should be to create as many custom audiences as possible through lists you already have on your different mailing lists, through website traffic, install a pixel on your website, and through ad engagement. So people who watch your videos or engage with your lead forms and all the types of ads. And then once a custom audience is bigger than 10,000 people, I've found that's a sweet spot, you can start creating a lookalike. If you've got a mailing list of 2,000 people, you can try creating a lookalike, but Facebook's probably not going to have enough data to create a relevant lookalike. Once you have 10,000 people in a custom audience, that's enough data for Facebook to create an effective lookalike. But again, this is what works for me. I suggest that you test it, but I found that, yeah, 10K is a sweet spot. Now I'm going to show you two more things. And we're a bit short on time, so I'm going to go quickly. I talked about audiences, and now I'm going to talk about ads, so the actual creatives of the ads. And this is an ad that I'm running for Ritzy Learning. And it's called a canvas. So I basically had a chat with our Facebook managing partner, Facebook marketing partner, so someone from Facebook who kind of gives me advice on our ads a few months ago, and she told me you should really try this new type of ad that we have that's called a canvas. And a canvas is a full screen experience, so it's a bit like a lead ad. Users on Facebook, when they click on it, they're going to stay on Facebook, but it's going to show them a full screen experience. So it shows them a video on top. Here you have the preview. Shows them a little video. The video is not running right now. I don't know why, but yeah, there you go. A little video, text, and then a carousel. It's a very basic canvas. Here you see the interface for designing the canvas, so you can create a lot more stuff than that. You can have several videos, several carousels, images, more text, more buttons. I created a super basic one, and I started getting a lot of good results with that. And the reason for it is that I think Facebook is pushing for full screen experiences within Facebook like that, just as they're pushing for video. So they're giving you better cost per click and better cost per interaction. And also, I can showcase more products and services here. So I'm showcasing different courses that we have. Now, this is for our free courses. If you're a fiction author, you've got romance series, and you're launching book 4 in that series. Now, a really good idea that's been tested by other authors I know, and that's worked for them, is you discount or you make your #1 book free for at least 7 days. And then you run a countdown deal on book 2, you put at $0.99, book 3, $1.99. You basically scale the prices, and you run promotions on all your 3 books. And you launch book 4 at a promotion as well. So what you can do is use a full screen experience like this to advertise the whole thing. A trailer here, a bit about yourself in the text, and then a carousel where you show the cover or an ad for the first book where you say clearly below $0.99, and second book, first book's free, second is $0.99, third is at $1.99, and you get the gist. That way, you're gonna get clicks and hopefully afterwards sales on your book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, and you can show this to your entire list, custom audience, to a lookalike, to interest. It's going to interest everyone, even people who've read the previous books, because some people are going to watch the trailer, some people are going to click on book 1, other people on book 2, other people are going to head to your website. So you basically bundle a bunch of possibilities for readers all in one place without leaving Facebook, and Facebook's actually going to encourage that to give you better cost. Last little thing, and the reason why I encourage having a video in this canvas, is that you're going to have a bunch of people who are going to watch this video. And this means that people who watch this video and don't click on the buttons below and don't purchase your book, what can you do? You can retarget them. You can set up an audience of people who watched your video and aren't part of your mailing list, for example, and you can serve them another type of ad, a lead ad, for example, with a freebie to join your newsletter. So you're achieving a bunch of things just with one ad. Links to your website, links to your books on Amazon, and video views. And again, I've seen a lot of good results from this. Cool, so last thing I want to show you is chatbots and messenger ads. So there's a lot of talk around that right now in several Facebook groups. The idea of those is that just as Facebook ads are getting more expensive because a lot of authors are using those, mailing lists are getting harder to sustain because a lot of readers are tired of getting emails from all the authors they follow. Because all indie authors out there now have a mailing list and send newsletters every time they have a new release, or when their friends have a new release, or when they do a giveaway, or when they have a freebie. Readers are starting to get inundated with emails. So open rates are dropping, click rates are dropping, and it's getting harder to make sales out of a mailing list. And that's where chatbots come in. Chatbots are basically little things within Messenger. So if I go, I'm not going to show you, but basically you set up a chatbot using ChatFuel or ManyChat, where whenever people interact with your page on Facebook Messenger, it's going to answer them. So here, for example, I've set up a little welcome message that says, hey, welcome to Readsy, and that asks people some questions and tries to interact with them. Now, I've got something set up specially for Facebook ads in here. So I'm going to show you how that works. As you can see here, I'm targeting people who watch Readsy Learning, the Readsy Learning video, but aren't part of our Readsy Learning list yet. And what I'm showing them is an ad that basically says, I'm going to pull it up, that advertises Readsy Learning again, because I'm targeting people who are familiar with it but haven't engaged with it yet. Little ad with a bit of text here, and that sends, here's the important part, advance your writing career, send a message. So they click on send a message, and that sends them to Messenger. And that gets them to interact with our Messenger chatbot. So when they click on send message, they're going to get this text as a Facebook message. Hi, first name, thanks for expressing interest in Readsy Learning courses. What would you like to learn about? And you can set up quick replies for them. So I can say, okay, I would like to learn more about writing fiction, writing nonfiction, self-publishing, things like that. Let me see if I can actually play with this. I should be able to pull it up for you to show you the experience live, because it's better. I always recommend that you test your ads that way, and that you see what it looks like for the reader. Okay, desktop newsfeed. So yeah, so users are getting this in their feed. They're going to click on send message. Okay, it's not working right now. Okay, it's not working in this preview here. Gonna click on preview message rather than that. Cool. So when they click on send message, they're gonna receive this in their Facebook inbox. It's loading, and as you can see, it's going to be the little text that I set up. Hi, Ricardo, thanks for expressing interest in our Readsy Learning courses. What would you like to learn about? So I'm interested in book marketing, obviously, because I love book marketing. So I'm gonna click book marketing. Then the chatbot is typing, and it's going to recommend me a series of Readsy Learning courses around book marketing. So I can click on these courses, which are going to direct me to the website, or view all courses. It's going to direct me to the website. And here I am on Readsy Learning, browsing Readsy Learning's courses. Now, if I scroll down, I'll see that I've actually connected the Facebook pixel to it. And what I'm measuring is conversions. So I'm getting signups to Read Learning courses for under £1 per lead, which is pretty much the cost per lead that I have when I serve lead ads. So why not serving lead ads directly? Well, because through getting people to interact with my chatbot, they get added to a sequence on my chatbot, on my book Chatfuel chatbot here, which means that a day after they get this first message, they're going to get another message that says, do you want to opt in to Read Learning broadcasts? And you can see the open rates here, 85% and 35%. So now I set up this a couple of weeks ago, so there's not a lot of people who've seen it. But basically, you get an 85% open rate and 35% click rate for people who want to say, yeah, I want to receive a broadcast. So every time there is a Read Learning course, I want to know about it. And then I can set up broadcasts here when I say, okay, we have a new course. You see the open rates here, 86%. These two didn't have any any call to action, so 0 clicks, but 21% click-through rate. So it's a lot better than emails. So not only am I getting conversions for £1 per lead, I'm also getting people who join my chatbot newsletter in a way, in which I can retarget for free afterwards by sending them messages through Facebook Messenger. So that's a technique that Mark Dawson's using a lot now, Nick Stevenson as well. They've talked a lot about it in the past, and I found it really, really interesting. So if you're running right now interest ads, think about custom and lookalike audiences. If you're at that point where you have a bunch of custom lookalike audiences set up, think about serving video before you serve hard ads. Think about using a canvas ads, which is going to pull all these resources together. And then think about starting to experiment with a chatbot. It's not that easy to set up, but you can learn, basically, Chatfuel. And it's really, really useful to both be able to serve ads and add people to broadcasts on Facebook Messenger. So that's pretty much everything I have to show you around Facebook ads. As you can see, I love ads. Every time I play with this, I feel like I'm basically sending little minions to do my marketing work for me. So it's a very good feeling. It's like having millions of little employees who are going to do your work and going to tell other authors out there about what Readsy does. And so I like to experiment with a bunch of things. If you don't like it, try to force yourself to play with it, because together with Amazon AMS ads and BookBub CPM ads, they're the golden trio that almost every best-selling author out there, if they're indie, is using to advertise their books and get more sales.
Right. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Absolutely, you're right. I couldn't agree more. Wow, that was phenomenal, Ricardo. I mean, phenomenal, phenomenal.
Thank you.
That was a lot of information in a short period of time, but you did it very well. So I congratulate you.
Thank you. I should have probably prepared this a little bit better, but I hope, that people got something out of it.
So you have another question. Do any of your freelancers deal with Facebook marketing? Could I pay someone to do all this for me so that I can spend my time doing what I really want to do, which is writing?
Yes and no. Yes, we've got Facebook marketing experts on Readsy. They will, however, train you to do Facebook ads rather than do them for you. Some of them offer to do it for you. And I'm not saying this now to scare you off, but because it's how it is. The people who are going to do it for you, they're going to charge you a minimum of $5,000 per month to do this for you, outside of the cost of ads. So if you're a New York Times bestselling author who runs Facebook ads every month or other types of ads, or who makes more than 10, 20K dollars every month in book sales, then it makes sense to work with those people. If you're not at that stage yet, I recommend you work with someone to start learning about Facebook ads, set up your first campaigns. Now, I know my advertising dashboard looks very scary because I've got lots of campaigns in there and I'm spending a lot of money and I'm testing a bunch of stuff. But when I started, I just had 2 lines in there, 3 ads set up, and it was very easy to manage. So you can do that on your own with a little bit of help. So I'd recommend going to Readsy. We have people in the marketing section. Select people who can do advertising, reach out to them, and don't tell them, I want you to run this for me, because they will not answer you. They'll decline your request. Tell them, I'd like you to run them for me for a month and teach me how to use it, because that's what they're there to do, and you're gonna get a lot more out of it. Another thing I want to mention as well is we get a lot of requests like that, people who want our marketers to do the work for them. Make sure that you have awesome covers, professionally designed, that you have awesome blurbs, that you have really good presence, you've optimized your Amazon metadata. Ideally, that you have a website as well, because our marketers are going to take a look at all of that. And the problem we're seeing right now on Readsy is that we get a lot of people who want our marketers to help, but our marketers you're not ready for this yet. You need to get better covers. You need to have stronger blurbs on Amazon. If I set up ads, people are going to click through. They're not going to buy your book. So the ads are not going to work, and you're going to say it's my fault. So make sure you have all your product really in a perfect place, spotless place, highly professional, before you reach out to marketers. And if you find marketers out there who say, I'm going to do everything for you, you're going to be able to concentrate on writing, it's probably not true. They're probably going to sell you a package or pre-made system that might or might not work, but you're not going to get one-on-one attention. So yeah, that's what I have to say about getting people to help for your marketing. It does make sense, but more in a training perspective than from a do everything for me, unless you're ready to pay $5K a month.
Wow. Well, thank you for your honesty. Well, I think we've reached the top of the hour, so unfortunately we have to say goodbye, but can you please tell people how they can either reach you or Readsy? And
for sure. So Readsy, the website is readsy.com or eedsy.com. Our learning courses are at readsy.com//learning. And you can personally drop me a line at ricardo@readsy.com at any time. So I always answer my email, even when I'm on holiday. I haven't been able to stop looking at emails yet. So no problem. I'm always happy to answer questions around ads, questions around marketing, questions around how to reach out to your professionals. So yeah, don't hesitate to drop me a line.
Is there a fee for joining Readsy?
There's none at all. So as I said, the only way we make money is through connecting authors with editors, designers, etc. So if you hire an editor, we take a 10% cut, and that's our only business model. Everything else we do is for free, even answering emails.
That's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So thank you so much. This was a fabulous webinar. That's what you call it. It's a webinar. Thank you for the webinar, Ricardo. It was just a joy having you. And thank you for everybody who attended. I am Frances Caballo. I am with socialmediajustforwriters.com. I am socialmediajustforwriters.com. And I hope you'll visit my website. I hope you'll visit Readsy. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ricardo. It was phenomenal to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Frances, for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you for saying Frances. Take care.
You too.